Hey, how are you? Cody here with Truly Canadian Gaming. Today, we're going to have a quick discussion about vintage Pokemon. So, let's not waste any time, and let's get right into this. Alright, so, today we have some vintage Pokemon stuff. We're going to go over my collection of vintage stuff that's sealed, as well as these two open items, and kind of discuss the pros and cons of collecting vintage and investment opportunities. So to start off, we're going to start off with these two items that I have. Now they're both opened and arguably to some worthless, but there is a market for these things. I've got a quick story on each we'll go over, and then we'll get into my sealed collection. You can see in the top corner there is the starter gift box for the trading card game sealed. That's gone crazy in value in the last couple months during the pandemic. And that's exciting. Actually, a lot of the sealed product has from the Wizards of the Coast era. But we're going to talk about these two specifically to start, and then we're going to get into my sealed collection. So to start with, let's do the what not to do's, I guess. So both of these are not to do's. So the Team Rocket Devastation I bought because I misread the ad and actually thought it was sealed when I bought it. It was very much not, and not in great shape. There was not a lot of pictures. I think there was just the one. And it said, with cards, this, and this. The word sealed was never in it. So I got none of the cards that are supposed to be in it, pretty much. I think I got a couple of the commons and maybe some energies. There was definitely more than the 60 cards that should have been in here, but the coins weren't there, the damage counters weren't there. It was just stuffed both sides with cards. All vintage, all Wizards of the Coast era, but not what I was expecting when I bought it, and not for the price point that I paid for it. Again, it was eBay. You really got to be careful with what you're buying and read the description properly. My bad, going back and looking on it, I realized that I purchased wrong, and that it didn't say sealed anywhere, and that it didn't say contains blah blah blah. It said that it contained cards. So not a bad listing, somebody who carefully listed it to deceive somebody stupid like me. Didn't pay what the current price is on it, which is nice, but I did pay more than I would have liked to for this. So, in short, careful what you buy. I still have it. Annoyed that it's not sealed, annoyed they don't even have the cards for it technically, but I have the box, looks good in the shelf, so go from there. Number two of things not to do, and we'll get into this here, and I've got a whole discussion about this to get into, are opening vintage packs. So I opened this pack myself. This is just the empty sleeve. I was careful to open it. I opened this quite a while ago and actually held on to it. So many moons ago, about 2010, is when I started collecting vintage Pokemon. I had sold all my stuff. I had moved on when I was a kid, and I really wasn't into it anymore. And then coming out of college and back moving in, I think I lived with my parents at the time, or with a couple friends. Either or, single, got back into collecting, and bought a ton of stuff. At the time, in about 2009 or 2010, you could buy these sealed packs for $30. Or even less. And I bought a couple, opened them, kept the Charizard art, threw the other ones out. Because at the time, they just weren't worth anything. Nobody wanted an empty sleeve unless you were planning to repack it. I pulled a Dugtrio to this. I will remember that forever because it was... I thought at the time, oh, well, that was a waste of money. Now it's worth a lot more, and it's a really waste of money. So that opening sealed product is kind of the other end of what not to do. And the huge price differences over time. So... So I really did buy, I swear I bought this for less than $30 shipped to my house from somewhere else in Canada, because I wouldn't buy them more than $30 because I thought that was silly. And they were 10 years old at the time, closer to even 12, and you could buy these as long as other packs for nothing relative to getting into it. A friend of mine that we talked about in my other Pokemon video, Chris and I, had gotten back into playing together, and I went on eBay to try and buy stuff because it was hard to get it where we are, and ended up finding all this cool vintage stuff that was just dirt cheap. And I was like, oh, like, you know, for a kick, let's open some packs when I was a kid. So I opened at least 2 of these I bought. I paid less than 30 each, shipped to my house. One was 22, one was 20, I guess say 27, 25 plus $2 shipping or something. And I kept the Charizard because it looks cool. It's got the original artwork style on it, which I love. And just such a waste because, you know what, honestly, this sleeve is worth more than probably I paid for the pack at this point. As of, well, what are we into now? July 2020. But regardless of that, it would have been really cool to have a sealed, you know, base set pack, even as an unlimited print. So don't open your vintage sealed stuff. And please be careful buying vintage sealed stuff online or stuff you think is sealed that is very much not. So that is that. So now we're going to get into my vintage collection. I think it's easiest if we just start and we'll go chronologically, oldest to newest. So we're going to start with base set. Sorry, I just want to make sure you guys can see that there. We'll get into base set here. I've got all 4 base set theme decks sealed. And 2 of the blackout because I got a really good deal on one. I think, was it this one? One of these, they had said the packaging was not great. It's this one. Because there's a dent in the corner that you can barely see that's not even whitening. Doesn't affect the cards inside in any way, and still great. Fine. So vintage decks are funny. Recently they've become worth a fortune because printing on the boxes was incredibly inconsistent versus the cards you're going to get inside. They didn't match up. I'm not entirely sure why. My assumption is that the boxes were printed somewhere different than the cards. They're all numbered. As you can see, the Wizards of the Coast in the bottom here. Should be able to... No, you probably can't see that. There you go. With the numbers. But what happened was, in theory, because these are base set packs, you could have Shadowless cards in them. Now, there's for sure first edition Shadowless like boxes. Not even for sure, but like almost guaranteed that are going to have certain things, like at the top here, there's a ribbon, and it's going to be, I think it's red or orange. It's a different color than the clear. Like this one, you can't even probably see it on the video. I'm trying to get there in the light. And then the back here, you know, the damage counters above them, which would make it almost guaranteed to be a first edition Shadowless one, which makes it worth an actual fortune. But the problem with these old vintage packs is that through the print run, they didn't change the boxes. After the first quick run, they changed the imagery slightly on the back, as I said, like some without damage counters, which could be unlimited print. They could be Shadowless. They're probably not first edition, but they could be Shadowless, which is a pretty big deal because that many Shadowless cards really increases the value. We'll go for a close-up on this one here, and you can see that the Pikachu has the first edition stamp on it. That doesn't mean the cards inside are first edition. They all have that picture. They're all first edition. I'll show you that one as well on the Ivysaur, on the cards. But because they have a chance of being Shadowless, they're getting cracked open like crazy, because any Shadowless PSA graded cards that come back as a 10, which in theory this might have, are worth more money than, you know, not. And because of that, if you do 60 cards, let's take the energies out, they're about 20 in each one. Take the trainers out, they're about 10 in each one, I think, maybe like closer to 15. Depends on the packs and the years, I can't be sure. But let's say there's, you know, 20 cards in there that are going to get you PSA 10s. Because in theory, if one's going to get you PSA 10, then they all will. You should be able to turn a really nice profit by cracking one of these, PSA grading them, getting back a ton of 10s that are Shadowless, and selling those individually. So people are opening them, which is driving the market crazy. So when I bought these, and this might sound wild to some of you who are just new to Pokemon, I bought this. This is the first one I bought because this is my favorite. I've always loved Water and Grass. Gyarados is my boy. And Ivysaur is pretty cool too. I like the deck. Even playing the game for Game Boy Advance, I would build a deck similar to this constantly. And I bought this for the Gyarados artwork to put on a shelf. I paid $30 for this. In, again, about 2009 or 2010. The average going price on these is over $200 right now. But, to be fair, they haven't moved in the betterment of... They didn't move for about 10 years. So if you knew, you would have paid $15 for this if you would have bought this at Walmart when they came out in 1998. And then 10 years later, they were worth $30. They doubled in price, which is a terrible investment ratio. But if you would have bought these last year, you could get the odd one, because I did. So I bought this originally, and I've had this for a really long time. And about 2 or 3 years ago, I kind of started buying up a bit more Pokemon stuff. I got really into Yu-Gi-Oh! And buying and selling, so I bought more Pokemon stuff. Just because it's the nostalgia thing for me. So I bought one of the Blackout decks, and I got a pretty good deal on it. And I think I paid about $80 for it, shipped to us, maybe $70. And that was a good deal. And I was like, alright, like that's not bad. So it's been, again, almost 10 years, and they've only doubled in price again. It's not the best investment ratio. It's not terrible, but it's not the best with collectibles. So I was like, all right, well, let's pick up. I got the Brushfire next. I got a dirty good deal on this one. I don't think I even paid $70 for it because I bought it right after I bought the first Blackout, and then I bought a Zap that I paid a little bit more than I wanted to. I wanted to get it for $100 bucks. I think I paid $110, but it's because this shipped out of Japan, and the shipping cost me a little bit more than I wanted to pay. But I got a pretty good deal on it because, as a rule, the Pikachu and the Mewtwo, this one's the more expensive one. And because of the inconsistencies in boxes, in theory, any one of these could hold a Shadowless First Edition Red Cheek Pikachu, which is worth thousands of dollars as a PSA 10. You're not going to get one likely, especially out of one of these, as it's got the damage counters, and it doesn't have the strip. But again, the inconsistencies in printing on these, in theory, these could also hold Shadowless First Edition cards. People of them because, you know what, for $100 I'll gamble, because if I pull that as the Red Cheek, which it is in the box, First Edition Pikachu, I don't even know, like 20 times my money as a PSA 9 or higher. Like, it's silly. And it's worth, for $100, like, to some people it's worth doing. I was just getting them to have the set, so I just bought them as they were. I bought another Blackout, actually really not that long ago at all. I probably bought this, at the time of filming this, less than a year ago. It's one of the last ones I bought. I always keep an eye on the pricing on these, and if I see an auction that isn't moving, because it's a new seller, I'll roll those dice sometimes and I'll buy something. So that's where I got the second Blackout one, which was this one. It's got this, it was a tag that would hang on the shelf, like from, I think it was a Target, it was a US buy. So it had the little hook that got glued in the back so it would sit on the shelf. I didn't take that hook off, somebody else did. But yeah, so I bought an extra one of these. It was a great deal, and I looked at it as an investment opportunity. So, base set boosters have gone crazy recently. They're over $200 Canadian consistently. Even more, like I think this one particularly has gone up to like $350, closer to $400 recently. And there's not a lot of them is the thing. And then this guy's worth a couple bucks. The Hitmonchan's not super desirable. Keeps the price down. Gyarados in this is better. People like this one, but again, it's the same thing. It's not worth a lot. And then this guy is, I think it's a Ninetales in this one, which people love Ninetales. I actually got a good deal on this one because it's got a little curve in the back here. Just a little box damage from bumping around a shelf. But face looks good. That's what I was all about. Because, again, these are display pieces for me. So that's my base set stuff. That's a little bit on base set, what they're doing right now. It's going crazy. If you want to buy base set packs, you can get them, or base set theme decks, you get them for, I don't even know, I would say under $150, you're probably laughing at your investment the way things are going. They're just getting bought up like crazy right now. Lots of good money-making opportunity there. Next, we're going into Jungle. Power Reserve. So I've only got one of the two Jungle sets. The reason that I have, reach across here, this starter gift box is that I want it. There's a jungle pack in here, and I believe my understanding when I bought this was it was the water one. So I was like, oh, I'll just buy this, and it's got a theme deck. It's got the base set one, which I don't have, and it's got a jungle booster in it. It's kind of everything I need. I'll crack it open and be done with it. I haven't opened it, which is good, because these have gone stupid in price. This was an unintentional purchase. I bought this for me to try and complete my theme deck set by cracking it open, so I get the starter one, I get the jungle water one, and then I just have an extra booster. It's a really good thing I didn't open this. I'm just sitting on this because the price has gone absolutely chaotic lately. So, yay, starter set. So that's exciting. But jungle. So I've had this. Oh, sorry, I can't get that there. Hopefully my head's not in the picture. We'll see on editing. So I got this jungle set at the same time I bought out that Overgrowth theme deck for base set. Actually, I think I bought it from the same buyer. He shipped both together, and I only bought this because he had this one as well as a good deal. I think I paid $20 for this. Same time, 2009, 2010. These aren't worth as much. They're mostly based on just people collecting them, because it's a Kangaskhan in it, and there's not a ton else. Like, you're not going to find first edition Shadowless or anything in this. This is literally just people buying these because they also like to collect sealed stuff, especially Wizards of the Coast era. And I don't know, maybe over $100 Canadian now. It's had that slow climb too. It's sat at $60 forever. You could buy these all day long for under $60, shipped to your house. So like really $40. But recently it's gotten more expensive, which is kind of exciting. And then at the same time I bought that, I started buying boosters. So at the time I was purchasing, we'll slide these over the middle here of the view, boosters. Didn't really care what they were. They were all supposed to be unweighed. I really do feel like whenever anyone puts unweighed in the description on eBay, it really means that they're light, not unweighed. But I bought these, and this sounds crazy to anyone trying to buy these now. I paid $6 each for these, for sure. I bought the art set off one person. They're the long packs, which were the ones that were designed to hang on shelves. So they had the little, like, you punch these out and you just slide them on the racks. Before, like, they had blisters as well, but these are what they would use instead of the blisters, or they would just sit in the box. So, yeah, I for sure paid $6 each for the art set, because I was buying them at the time and opening them for kicks. It was one of the more readily available sets. Not so much as the next one we'll get into, because we're just going chronologically. I'll let you guess on that. You should probably know. But at the time, it was just fairly well printed, and people liked it. It was actually, that's the first booster I ever got, was a jungle booster. I think the art was Flareon. I could be wrong. And it wasn't a first edition. I got $5 from my parents for, I don't even know what, a bunch of chores. Like, we didn't really have money growing up. My parents hated that I bought this stuff. So I traded for everything I had. But I the first one I ever bought that was new was a jungle. And then the second one I ever bought was a base set, just a reprint one. The jungle one, I can't remember what I pulled. It was non-hollow. I remember thinking it was fine. It wasn't that exciting. The Rhyhorn that I pulled I thought was super cool looking. And at 70 health, it was a basic at 70 health, which is pretty solid. But yeah, jungle, so $6 each. And I think they're trending at about 150 now, Canadian. At the time of recording, a little drink there. Yeah, let's keep going through this. So yeah, so I mean, they've gone silly in price. People really like them. I don't understand this one. The best thing you're going to pull out of this for value of a single card would be a Jolteon. That's the highest, like, most desired card in the set. And a perfect PSA 10 Jolteon isn't worth that much. Like, a couple $100. So to spend $200 to gamble to open a pack to get a holo that you still have to get graded to maybe only double your money really doesn't make sense to open these. It's a cool collector's item. These are in great shape. Again, I've had these for over 10 years now. But I don't understand why people keep opening these, and they do. because there's no value in opening them. I understand opening base sets that are probably shadowless or are shadowless, because you can get every card graded and you're going to make money. You're not going to. You're not. A Pokeball graded out of this, and I don't even know, a Bellsprout graded out of this, and there's a bunch of stuff. Like, you're just not going to make your money back. So I don't know why people are opening these. Even like Scyther, which is like arguably a chase card. Just go buy a PSA Scyther. It's the same price. A 9 is the same price as opening one of these, and you're not guaranteed that's going to be in good shape, because these have bounced around for 23 years at this point. So, Jungle, that's what I've got. We'll keep going down the history train. We're into the next set. There we go. So we have the Lockdown theme deck and the Bodyguard theme deck. I'm not entirely sure if Fossil was printed heavier than the Jungle set, or slightly less desirable, or kind of a mix of everything. I think it was just probably printed heavier because it was the next set and it was getting more popular. Fossil sealed product is so easy to come by relative to a lot of stuff. So I picked up this Lockdown theme deck again 10 years ago for like nothing. Like, I think I paid $15. I paid like what was supposed to be market when it came out for this deck. Like, I really don't feel like I paid anything for this more than market. And I didn't really even want it, but I said to myself, it was $15 new. It's been 10 years, it's still $15. So it's held its value at least. Screw it, I'll buy it. It's a small dent in the corner there, and if you guys can see that. This is, I don't know. I like the Fossil set. There's not a lot of great stuff in it. Competitively, there's not a lot of good stuff in it either, if you're doing old school competitive stuff. But it's cool. I've been a dinosaur fan forever, so the idea of like fossil Pokemon to me is super fun, super cool. I really like it. I actually bought the Bodyguard theme deck like super recently as well. Within the last year. I kind of forgot I bought it, to be honest. I got it out of Singapore. It's okay shape. It's not great. Starting to peel here in the corner, which is normal for the glue on these. And it's got a muck. Like, nobody cares. The Fossil ones just weren't great. But I don't know. I just wanted it to complete the set. Same reason I bought the starter box. And I'm pretty happy with it overall. They're same thing. There's just higher numbers of these. So I'm guessing they're about $100 right now as well. Or maybe just in and around there. They haven't done the spike. Not super desirable, and there was just a ton of these on market. So, like, I mean, I was buying those jungle packs for $6 each. And I'll tell you, when I bought these fossil packs, I don't think I even paid $6 each for them. I was buying first edition fossil packs to open for $10 in 2010. Just for kicks. And there's tons of them. You used to be able to buy booster boxes of these for... It worked out to be $3 something a pack. Like, it was just like buying them new when they were 10 years old. There was an abundance of these on the market. Nobody really wanted them. I thought they were super cool. I always liked Fossil. I don't know. Today, let's say 150 for those boosters, conservatively. Again, there's lots of them around, but they're starting to go up. The first edition ones, which are still arguably readily available, have really gone up in price. But the packs themselves, like, I mean, I really don't think I paid, I might have paid $4 for each of these. I was opening these like crazy. I bought for months, I bought fossil packs whenever they pop up on eBay for under $5 and cracked them open. I bought all the first edition for under 10. It's like, I mean, that's an investment right there. $4 for a pack, and then, 10 years later reselling them at 140. That's 25. Oh, let me think about this quick. 35 times initial investment. 3,500% return. Like, that's silly. Now, that's not guaranteed by any means, but people are buying them, and these are in great shape. They're the short ones. They were in the big cases. Again, I've never weighed any of these myself. I don't have the box to weigh them to. I have each one I could weigh them against. In theory, they're from the same sets. But, again, I don't know. They're in great shape. Super happy with them. Still lots of fossil around, but the price point's very high now for what it is. Then we're going to get into my favorite set, Team Rocket. We got the Trouble theme deck here. I got a little sticker for $70. I can probably peel off of there. And then this was it was a $10 deal at wherever it came from. Walgreens, maybe? Somewhere in the States. These are common, though. You see these in a lot of these. People bought these at Walgreens in their clearance area. I think it was Walgreens. And they just held on to them for years. So you have these giant stickers that do not come off. The guy I bought it off tried to peel it off. You don't want to damage the packaging, because if you rip the packaging, it's essentially unsealed, and your value goes to shit. Excuse my language. But yeah, so that 70s me trying to sell it about 2 years ago. I was kind of about over all of it. I'm just looking to move stuff. These are worth quite a bit. The theme decks were good, I guess. Like, they're not great. Both the exclusives sucked. But they're not exclusives. Like, the theme deck ones, like Arbok and Weezing, which I mean makes sense, it's Team Rocket, but they're not good cards, and these weren't great. Like, if you bought one of these and played against your buddy, if you actually played the game, you were not going to do well. But the artwork's cool. We got Jesse and James on it. We had Giovanni on the other one. You know, Psychic, it's Leaf. It's Trouble theme deck. It's cool. Rocket's my favorite set, personally. It was the set that I played quite a bit of and really enjoyed. So, of course, I have long art sleeves of the Rocket sets. And Rocket sets, very much like the Fossil set, lots of printings available. When I was, again, 2009, 2010, $4 a pack all day long. I definitely paid, I can distinctively remember, because even at the time it was a good deal to get an art set, because those would sell for slightly higher. You get a random pack and kind of hope for the best. People would sell you that, but to get the straight up 4 art set always cost a little bit extra, and I think I paid, I really do feel like I paid $16 shipped to my house for these, which is just silly, especially considering now what they're doing for price. $100 each all day long. Paid $16 for 4 of them. That's wild. But I opened a ton of these as well, being my favorite set. I kept a lot of the cards. It's definitely one of the things that I wish I would have bought more of, I guess. Like, I mean, all of this, it's hindsight 2020. So, ideally, I would have been a super smart human and been like, haha, in 10 more years, these will be worth thousands of dollars if I buy booster cases. I guess I'll just buy booster cases. But, yeah, that's just not feasible. And I can't see the future, so I only bought some of them. What I did do, though, and I'm just sorting it out for you here. Oh, if I can get this out. It's in a sleeve. So, I did pull a Dark Charizard out of one of these several years ago. There's a swirl in the corner here. I pulled it out of the sleeve. This thing has been out of these sleeves like twice in its entire life. And I do plan to get this one PSA graded. Hoping for a 9. I'm just gonna stand up here and see if I can get the angle right. You get a swirl just off his tail there. So, I did pull one of these. This is the best thing I've probably ever pulled from a pack. So that's exciting. But I pulled that out of one of these Team Rocket packs that I was just opening at $4 a pop. Like, it was silly. Same thing though, like if you want to invest, old vintage stuff is worth money. There's guys on YouTube opening it constantly, which just, we're just going to leave him here actually. He can join us for the rest of the video. There's guys opening stuff constantly, which just drives the market up. As I said, it's slow to move relatively compared to those first sets. Those base sets, because in theory, like you're just going to keep driving it home, you could have a Shadowless. So now we're on to the last chunk of my collection. I don't actually have a lot of boosters, because I really got into theme deck collecting. So these are the base set 2 theme decks. I got a set of these. All the boxes are mildly crunched. I think this one's perfect. No, it's got a little mark there too. And this one's just got a big dent at the bottom. I got these, again, more recently, getting back into it. last year in buying stuff, and I got a really good deal on these. And for whatever reason, in the UK, Croatia, and Turkey, you'll find these constantly. If you want to buy sealed base set 2, it's probably coming from there. And I don't know if it was not popular, or if it's a guy who bought a whole warehouse of it, or what the specific deal is. It seems to only come from a few sellers, and they tend to have a lot of it. But base set 2, you're buying it out of there. And same thing, a lot of these old vintage stuff, the corners start to peel, and eventually the glue lets go, which is too bad. You got to put it in like an airtight seal to keep it. They're not worth much. I bought these for under $50 each to get the lot. I just bought them all from the guy at once. They don't have the same value as everything else. They're just not as desirable, so I don't know what they're going for now. Let's say up to $100 individually if you want to buy one. Maybe you get maybe a little bit higher, like 120. But you can buy, again, with boxes like this, not in perfect shape. If you wanted a perfect shape box, then it's a whole different discussion. But if you just wanted to have a sealed one, that the cards are probably not damaged because, like, they're up here, so the squish is here because there's nothing to support it. But the cards are actually up here. It's the same on all of these. That's why they squish on the bottom. That could be troublesome. So, I mean, you buy at your discretion. I'm leaving them sealed. So, and I just like having the art set. But I paid less than $50 each for them. You might get them. You can definitely buy them with a damaged box for closer to $50 still. Again, it's only been about a year since I bought these till now. They really haven't gone up in price. There's something maybe you could consider buying if you get the boxes in better shape. There's a lot of dented boxes coming out of Croatia, which is technically part of the UK. They use pounds. I'm not terribly familiar with that part of the world for some reason. I'm just not. But Croatia and Turkey, you're getting a lot of these out of there that are, the boxes are just a little dinged up, but they're still sealed, and you're getting a great deal. So, yeah, something to think about. But yeah, that's my little ranting and some discussion or points on sealed Pokemon packs and vintage stuff I bought, and the market today versus what it was in 2000, let's say 10. Yeah, it's a funny thing, and people getting into this now, like, you guys are going to go, holy crap, like, I can't believe you bought those for those, and wow, and I'm like, you know what, for me, when they were new, it was the thing you had to have. And not that you weren't cool if you didn't play Pokemon. Heck, you might have still, you were a nerd, but it was okay to be a nerd if you were under, let's say, 13 and playing it. But growing up later, you just like having the stuff you had as a kid because it reminds you of a simpler time. So for me, that's what a lot of this is. That's why I got them in the first place. It was just that kickback to enter a new stage in my life. And I was like, all right, I'm done college. I'm working. I don't really know what to do. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy the trading card game I played as a kid. I'm going to buy Pokemon. And I did. And I mean, you've got other stuff. Like, I've got binders full of cards. And I like to buy, sell, and trade now. I just got back into it after, oh God, like, let's say a 3-year hiatus since I bought anything that wasn't a sealed theme deck, just trying to complete sets. And then before that was like a 7-year hiatus. I really just bought a ton, like one summer, and then shoved them in my closet. So, with everything going on in the pandemics, people are just back into doing stuff and collecting for the first time. It's driving the market crazy, which is awesome. It's really making for an interesting time for sealed and vintage Pokemon stuff. And I mean, if you're a Magic the Gathering fan, you might like it because it's Wizards of the Coast, like, other project, you know, like, they got Magic, which is super cool, and then Pokemon, which old school Pokemon is just Magic Light with different kind of friendlier monsters that are cartoony and have super cool art. Love the original art style. But yeah, like, you might be into it too, but I know a lot of the stuff I am following and the pages I'm on and where I buy and sell, a lot of the buyers are new. They had it as kids. It's been 15 or 20 years for them, and they're bored. They don't have big expenses yet. They don't have kids, maybe, or maybe they have, young kids, and they want something new because the thing that they've been doing and whatever has been keeping them busy the last couple of years has either slowed down or they're not able to do. So they want to spend their money somewhere else. And you end up with Pokemon. So if you're also looking at, buying vintage stuff, you got to be careful. You'll get screwed. And, really maximum value long term. Just don't ever open anything. I know it sucks because you want to open everything. Like, I totally get it. I love opening packs. My God, I opened, I don't know, it was something in Yu-Gi-Oh! This week for the first time in forever. I haven't bought stuff in a while. It's been like 3 months. They bought something sealed, and I was like, as soon as I got in the car, I wasn't even home. I cracked it open. So I get the want to open stuff. But if you're just looking to invest, for me, a lot of these pieces, with the exception of these base set 2, we could flip tomorrow and make a very tidy profit. I've had them for 10 years. But if you look at $10 at a 20% interest, which is a wild interest, you would never get that at a bank. You get something closer to like 2.5 over a 10-year. It's a really good short investment. Collectibles, you got to be more careful with the money, of course, because you can always drop the market out, or you yourself owning too much of the market share can skew the market in a way that doesn't work out for you long term. But yeah, so anyway, that's my vintage collection, my sealed stuff. Hope you guys liked the video. I'm going to try and get more up. I have been on probably 1.5 month hiatus because of work. I'm back working full time, which has taken a huge chunk of my day. Plus, I've got 2 beautiful young children, and a wife and a house, and it's summer. So getting the videos up hasn't been great. I apologize for that if you've been waiting for more. And it's going to be a mix of the 3 stuff still going forward. I've got a Magic the Gathering video that I'm having issues with. I have a corrupted file I'm trying to fix because I like the video, but it's actually opening this Korea box along with a couple boosters, chasing Godzilla. So hopefully I'll be able to get that up here. Again, the videos, I filmed it at the end of May when the set came out, but I'd like to get it up still. It was a pretty good video. But yeah, hopefully you guys see this, enjoy it. Next discussion will be a Yu-Gi-Oh topic. Probably get it up in a couple days. Honestly, I'll probably film it right after I'm done this. Anyways, hope you guys have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you sat through all this to see what my collection was. I know it's not that exciting. I think it's pretty cool. And we'll see you again. Thanks.